After sending thousands and thousands of cold emails in my sales career, I've learned some of the best techniques to get responses, to get meetings with your dream clients and close more deals. So in this video, I'm gonna give you my top strategies for you to send your cold emails, and I'm gonna give you some of the best templates in the game. Now, before we get started, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe, and shout out to HubSpot for helping make this video possible, but more on that in a second, and let's dive in. With the strategies we're gonna be talking about today, there are a couple things we're gonna learn. Number one is we're gonna get prospects to respond to your cold emails, even if they don't know who you are, meaning you're sending them an email, they don't know your name, they don't know your company, but we're going to get them to respond. Number two is we're going to get that person to respond and then have them book a meeting on your calendar so that you can actually talk to them either in person, over phone, over Zoom, whatever the medium is. And finally, we're going to show you how to follow up with your prospects, the ones that don't respond. Maybe they open, but they haven't set up that meeting yet. We're going to show you exactly the mindset you need to have in order to talk to them again and rebook that meeting. Now, here's the thing. This video is going to cover a lot of the strategies, but you and I both know that it's easier to work off of proven examples, proven templates, rather than reinventing the wheel. And because of the low cost of sending emails, which is essentially almost free, I really recommend you use some proven templates to get started so you can spend less time writing and more time selling. And that's why you definitely need to check out HubSpot's 25 proven sales email templates. I actually put a link in the description for you to download these templates. This is going to be relevant for anyone doing any type of cold emailing, any type of prospecting, because cold emailing is really an art and a science. You really need to understand it in order to get people to respond, especially if they don't know who you are or your company and you're reaching out to them cold. So with these templates, you're going to learn how to write these cold emails, how to follow up, and what to do if they don't respond or if they respond negatively. How do you turn it around? And my personal favorite section is going to be the breakup email, where you're going to be using reverse psychology to get people to respond. Now, it's very counterintuitive, but you got to read it for yourself to see what I'm talking about. Now, this video was made possible by HubSpot, so make sure to check out the link in the description and let's get into it. The first mindset you have to have is actually your ideal customer profile, and you have to clearly define who you want to target. Now, where most people, especially beginner salespeople, make mistakes is that they just blast emails. They're like, oh, emails free to send, so I'm just going to go bang, 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 and reach out to as many people as possible. So they think it's a numbers game. But in reality, it's partially a numbers game, but you can increase your conversion rates to chance someone will respond to you by clearly identifying who your customer is. So I'm going to use myself as a personal example, right? So I have somewhat of a marketing agency in the whole cryptos and NFTs, but I handle marketing for a lot of companies and helping them with that stuff. For me, I specialize in a specific type of marketing for a specific type of project, right? I focus on gaming companies who have art styles that are very anime inspired and IP inspired, right? So Japanese style, anime style, this is kind of my bread and butter. Now, because there's only so many of these companies that exist in the world, my ideal customer becomes very, very narrow. There might be literally 100 or less companies that could be potential clients of mine. So in my personal experience and my situation, I cannot just send 10,000 emails to everybody, right? Because there's not even enough people to send 10,000 emails to. I have to be very targeted in who I approach. Now, because the industry is very small, I can't just spam them because word's going to get out that Patrick's just a spammer. No one's going to want to work with me. They're going to pay for my marketing services, right? So I have to be very methodical and very conscious of who am I targeting, what their pains are, how do I bring value to them, and then what is my approach to actually reach out to them, right? And so this is an example of a very clear, defined target demographic where you're so narrow, there's only like 100 people in the whole world that fit your ideal customer profile. Most likely, if you're watching this video, your target demographic is much bigger than mine's. It might be in the hundreds, it might be in the thousands, right? Especially if you're selling, let's say, HR software, for example. Everybody has HR, so you have thousands of people. But you want to clearly define who you're going for, right? For me, it's going to be Web3 projects who want to do something in crypto, who have a game that is very anime inspired, and they need help with marketing, and they don't have any strong marketing leaders at their company currently, which is where I would plug into their stack. It's a very clear, defined ideal customer profile. So when I talk to people, usually it's either we don't need a Patrick because we're already good, or I'm dying with marketing. Our founder's super smart. He makes really good games, but he doesn't know how to communicate, doesn't know how to do marketing. And that's where I plug in, right? Because I define it so clearly, you know, when I do find a potential fit, it's very clear that it's a good fit, and it's a lot more easier to close that deal. So whatever it is you're doing, make sure you know who you're targeting, what their pains are, how you solve that pain. And you can go even more like narrow when it comes to like employee size, size, revenue, do they have money to pay, geographic location, industry, right? So many ways to define an ideal customer. You just have to figure out who good for you. Now, which leads us to the next point, which is find the pain. So to define an ideal customer, a big part of it is actually pain, because pain is the strongest motivator to get someone to take an action. If there's no pain, there's no sale, because there's no reason for why someone should take action today. So the best way to find pain for your product or service that you're selling is actually to talk to your previous customers, talk to your current customers, and talk to potential customers, right? So if you have current clients, right? Let's say you're working at a company, schedule an interview with some of these happy customers to say, hey, just curious to know, like, what got you to buy this package? What got you to subscribe to our product? And they're going to say, oh yeah, before we use you guys, we had problems with XYZ, and that's why we bought you. So you're like, oh, okay, write that down. So when you write your cold emails and you're trying to write the pain and communicate that pain in a cold email, you're basically just mirroring the pain that somebody else experienced and that was remedied, putting that into your cold email. It's simple as that. What's the problem? Put it in the email. What's the solution? Put it at the end of the email. And that's, from a high level perspective, how I would structure an email, right? Unless you're like creating a new product that has no sales and you never had a client before, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Literally just look at what your previous clients are doing. Like if you're a sales rep joining a company, talk to other sales reps and ask them like, hey, why did they buy? And chances are you're going to get the answers right there. Now, in the event you are, let's say, a solo entrepreneur, a coach, a consultant, or something like that, and you're selling something brand new, you're making a new offer. Okay, so this is brand new. What you want to do is you want to look at the pains that your market experiences, and a lot of times you can look at what your competitors or people in your field are selling, and you can kind of reverse engineer, okay, like I understand why people buy, so let me just kind of take that and use it for my offer and test it out to see how people feel about it, right? And so the answers and clues are already out there. You don't have to reinvent the wheel unless you're doing something crazy innovative in technology or something like that, right? For the most part, you're probably not. So look at what's already working, take bits and pieces of it and implement it into your sale and put it in that email. Now let's go into the next point, which is how to write the perfect cold email. I did put a link in the description with HubSpot's email, so we're not going to go step by step and line by line because you can download that, just basically plug and play the template. So I'm going to give you a more high level strategy. So once you understand the strategy, you can apply that and use it for all these different templates. And here's a trick about templates. There's no silver bullet for anything, right? Just because HubSpot said this, just because I said this, doesn't mean it's going to instantly work for you. You have to take that template, you can copy and paste it into a Word document, but you have to swap out the different sentences, you swap out the language to fit it for your specific product and service. There is no product and service that's the same. There's no industries that's the same. You have to massage the wording and the copywriting in order to fit your thing. Now, high level, right? If you were to look at the structure of every email template you're going to find out there, it's pretty much the same, where you're giving a quick introduction of who you are. Like, I'm part of this company. You go into the pains. Hey, I noticed that you're trying to grow on TikTok, but you haven't been getting as many views probably as you want. That's a pain. I noticed that you're trying to do marketing on Twitter for your Web3 project, but it seems like you're not getting much engagement relative to your competition. The game you're promoting is actually better than what's on the market, but I just think you're not communicating that well. See, that's a pain that I usually go for when I'm selling my marketing services. Psychologically, it's kind of like, you're basically pointing out something someone already knows or someone already feels, but maybe they haven't, clearly articulated in their head. And when they hear you say that, they're going to feel like, oh my God, that's exactly what I was feeling. That's exactly what I was thinking. Let's have a meeting because you get it, right? The feeling you want to create in these emails is like, this guy gets it. I want to have a meeting with them. And then usually at the end of the email, what I like to do is add a little social proof. So I'll put in previous clients. So, some of the people I helped before was X, Y, and Z. And then they'll be like, oh, I really look up to X, Y, and Z. So I want to work with Patrick because it seems like he has some social proof, right? So it's intro of who you are, dive into the pains. After pains, I should mention that you want to lightly show what solutions you can provide. You don't want to give them a whole essay. You just want to say like, hey, I helped people, grow their following from 0 to 100,000 on Instagram, right? That's one way you can show your value. And then who are some of the people? X, Y, and Z, and put a link to, these clients that you helped out. And they're going to be like, oh, okay, Patrick understands my pain. He knows what kind of value to bring, and he knows exactly what I want, and he's done it before from other people. So I don't see why I can't take 15 minutes out of my day to click the link in the calendar or schedule a meeting so I can see if he can work with me, right? So that's the no-brainer kind of pitch when it comes to cold emails. It's that simple, right? If you're offering real value, you just have to communicate it in a very clean and simple way, and people will actually respond. That's that's it. There's no gotchas, there's no surprise, there's no like secret formula. That's essentially how you want to bring value. So all the templates that you use, of course, use different ones, see which one works best for you. But high level, that's the overarching theme. Even if you have no template, right, and you're just freestyling it, intro, pain, solution, social proof, call to action at the end, book a time on my calendar. That's how I get all my meetings, right? Now let's go into follow-ups, right? Because follow-ups are very important. Even if you do all these things perfectly, it doesn't mean the person's going to respond. Sometimes they get busy. I get busy all the time. But you'll find that you'll get as many responses on the follow-up than you get on the first email, right? So if you send 100 emails, you get 5 responses. The follow-up, you might get another 5. Another follow-up, you might get another 5. That's just how the numbers typically work in general, right? So in follow-ups, there's 2 ways to do it. Either you do personal or just mass, right? So let's talk about mass. If you're just spamming people, not spamming, but sending a lot. All you have to do is say, hey, John, just wanted to see if it still makes sense to work together. If it does, let me know what time works for you. Or if it does, feel free to book a time on my calendar, right? Simple as that. You're kind of just repeating what you said. Like maybe you say, hey, just want to see if it makes sense to talk about how to grow your Instagram following. If it does, let me know what time works best for you, right? You're kind of just repeating what you said before in one sentence, and that's it. If you want to do it more personal, right? Let's say you're following this person's Twitter account and you want to really work closely with them. They're your dream client. You say, hey, I really enjoyed that article you wrote about X, Y, and Z, and it really got me thinking about blah, 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 right? So if you provide more value like that, like you're trying to build a network, trying to become friends with the person, a lot of times for me, the people that I eventually become clients become friends first, right? Which is a very more personal, strategic approach, right? Because for me, I only want to work with like 5 people at a time, right? I'm not mass selling something because I'm more like a growth partner versus like selling a software. So it's important for me that I become friends with the person I want to work with, right? Then you use things you see on Twitter, right? If you follow them on Twitter, which are crypto and stuff, that's where it's really big, or YouTube, or whatever your industry is, like mention stuff that they posted, have a really interesting point, and then it starts a conversation from there. I would typically follow up like 3 times over the course of 2 weeks to 4 weeks. If they don't respond, they don't respond. You can keep following up. There are people that keep following up forever, especially if you're a dream client, right? Every month you send them an email or something. But if not that, let it go and move on to the next ideal customer profile, right? Or a next set of customers if you're trying to move fast. So it really depends. Are you trying to be strategic and there's only a handful of people you want to work with? Or do you want to just sell as many subscriptions or memberships or whatever as possible? It depends on the strategy, right? And so with that said, that is everything we got to cover for some of my best cold emailing strategies. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe, and leave a comment on something that you learned in this video, and I'm going to see you in the next one.